going on, everybody? Welcome to a very special New Year's live rockin' day. Not New Year's rockin' Eve anymore. So it's New Year's rockin' day.
Oh, God, what?
It is Dave Sturchio. It is Josh Shernoff. This is another episode of the Wrestling Hour right here, exclusively on ad-free shows. And, of course, everybody who subscribes to that are seeing our wonderful mugs this early on January 1st, 2025. Josh, we are closer now to 2050 than we were 2000. How does that make you feel?
Oh, man, like I need to Google how to tie a noose. Listen, you talked about our mugs. This isn't exactly a mug as much as it's just it holds my coffee, but I just wanted to show this. I don't know if anyone's ever seen this one before.
Okay, yeah.
But you had your hat on,
let's get it out of the way. The Cowboys, my Cowboys got absolutely throttled by Josh's Philadelphia Eagles this past Sunday. All good. I'm
Sans
fine.
hurts.
Dude, I don't understand. Like Kenny Pickett, and then the next thing you know, some guy nobody's ever heard of comes in. He throws a touchdown. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun being a Cowboys fan in December of 2024. But guess what, Josh? The best thing about that is that was so last year, man.
Oh my God, it was. I can't even believe I'm bringing something up from last year. Like,
I know, right?
I should be a little more topical.
Age it like milk in a sauna is how you say it.
Oh, that is true.
Trying to pick up on things. Good morning to the chat. Coach Rosie in the building. You look great. I must still be hungover. Yes, that makes sense. Good morning to little Jimmy Sorensen, who just continues to wow me sometimes with his with some of his kind words. He always lumps me and you, and maybe so much. Josh, you've been around for longer than I have, but for him to lump us in with like Bischoff and just Conrad, all these guys, like Happy New Year to this group of people, and we're still lumped in there. I'm like, what? I have no business being in this group of people or tagged on Twitter or anything like that. So
that's what we all say when we're talking to each other in our private chat. We're like, he has no business. I'm like, guys, just give him a break. We're starting things off. This is my New Year's resolution to just be positive.
Listen, Josh, we collectively, I know we really didn't reflect too much. I don't think I remember. I mean, maybe I don't remember, but we didn't reflect too much last week on, what we got done in 2024, which is a lot, man. It was a lot. We did a lot of cool things, and now Josh will be paying debts for the rest of his life. But listen, these are the costs of doing business, and me and Josh have elevated the MyFandom app as much as we can do it possibly. There's other things brewing, kicking along. It's going to be a lot of fun in 2025. But again, thank you to Josh and of course your brother and everybody for taking care of me last year. It's not even this year anymore.
Hey.
Last year, you guys took care of me with MyFandom. It was Philadelphia, which again, I'll only go to Philly for WrestleMania. Philadelphia for WrestleMania, Cleveland for SummerSlam, all the stuff we did, GCW, WrestlePro, all the shows that we've done together. We had a successful 2024 in my eyes.
Yeah, man, it was great. It really was. And it was interesting. Last night I was starting to try and think back on okay, so reflecting on the year. And we did do some cool stuff. We did do some real fun stuff. Fight Factory Wrestling, War on the Shore was a highlight for sure for me. I know that checked a couple boxes for you as well, but man, it was just it was really, Fight Factory Wrestling was a big part of last year, I think, for both of us in different ways. But then also, like you talked about, the stuff we did with GCW, the stuff we did WrestleMania in Philly, SummerSlam, all that stuff. Just it was a really, really cool experience. And then I think also being able to kind of launch this show and relaunch this show, because we had so much fun with how this show went. In 20, I guess it would have been 2023, that in 20, and wrapped up in 2024 with our first season. So season 2, we kicked things off and just, man, I love this new format that we're doing. I love the fact that now we can interact with fans.
And I love you, Solo Sikoa.
Yeah. How about that, man? And that's, that's a tremendous segue into kind of what our topic is today. But I do want to say just one last thing about that too, is thank you, Dave, for, taking this ride with me. It's not easy to do any of these things solo. No, solo. But I think, being able to find that partnership that we've had over the last few years has opened up a lot of doors and opportunities for us together to do these things like GCW and like ACW coming up this weekend, which we will talk about more. You know what? Let's get into that first, because I don't want to get deep into the weeds of our main topic and not give that enough time. So,
And
man, let's talk about that.
Yeah, first and foremost, if you're watching this on ad-free shows, please spread it. Let people know that there's a live show happening right now at 10:30 in the morning. So if anybody wants to come out, hang out, spread the word. Jimmy, I know you're good at that, so you do that while people file in. Yeah, ACW, very, very similar ride right now for Hale and Vic Delicious. Those guys are very similar to me in regards to, hey, we think we could do this. We think we can put on a show, put on a promotion, launch something. I had the same aspirations with Chris Payne and Tommy D, right? And I said, these guys, they're ride or die friends. Let's do it. That the Now is a tag team. They've been doing it for years. And now they have a chance to really make some history. And just based off of the numbers that we're starting to hear, as far as attendance, man, it looks like they
opened up more tickets.
They are going to jam-pack the Mid-Hudson Civic Center for professional wrestling. And it doesn't get any cooler than that. And I think we have a chance, you and I, Josh, to be a part of that history and not wait any longer. It's like 2 days away. So it's very exciting that ACW is here now.
Yeah, I am so pumped for this. And, I was talking to Danny Moff, friend, hero. But I was talking to him and telling him a little bit about part of my first, we talked about last week, my first experience in working in wrestling in some form or fashion was Bill Apter giving me an opportunity to come with him to ECW Hardcore Heaven 99 at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center, which has a different name now, but we'll call it the Mid-Hudson Civic Center.
Sure will.
But maybe not on commentary. But maybe on commentary, who knows? But one of the coolest things that came from that event was Rob Van Dam, Jerry Lynn had a classic match. Van Dam was put through a table, and the table broke into like a triangular piece that then landed on his head and actually cut him. After the show, I'm backstage. Van Dam comes over and hands me that triangular piece of table they were cleaning out under the ring afterwards and gives it to me.
Keep it?
And I still have it.
Beautiful.
And not only do I have that table, but two really important things that I did was, one, and I'm so glad I did this, I took a picture holding the table with Joey Styles, who's doing the oh my God face. He's going like that. And I'll have to post that online.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that was like my proof of like this table came from here, right? Like I am backstage with Joey Styles, like, And then probably about 5 years ago, I was at or maybe 6 years ago, I was at a WrestleCon working. It was the first WrestleCon I ever attended or worked. And Jerry Lynn was there, who I'd become friendly with at that point, and Rob Van Dam was there. And they both signed the table for me, and I took a picture with them and the table like 20 years later. Cool. And now, the Now will be facing Sent to Slaughter, my guys, Sent to Slaughter, in a tables match. And I told Danny Moff, I said, I'm walking away with a piece of that table. Preferably the table that they put the Now through.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm walking away with a piece of that table, and I want to get that table signed by the guys there, and I want to put it in a display case next to that other massive, massive piece. So hopefully a much smaller piece of table, because the other one is like legit, like it is wouldn't fit in frame. So that's again full circle moments, man. But yeah, it's gonna be sold out there. It's gonna be jam packed. Yeah. I mean, over 1,000. I don't know what they hold, but
I'm not sure either.
Not an indie show. Not a little indie show.
No, it doesn't feel like that. It's got a big fight feel, much like the War on the Shore had. much like I wish Knuckle Brawl had. But no, what I'm saying is I think that what these guys have built in a short period of time too. Like I feel like they didn't have as much time as we did. And they're absolutely crushing it. Just to go over some of the card, I mean, the main event in itself is the TNA World Champion, Nick Nemeth, formerly known as obviously Dolph Ziggler from the WWE, is now TNA. He'll be taking on the Bros of the Bros, and that's Matt Riddle. I mean, they've never wrestled one-on-one.
Never.
And if you look at two wrestlers with completely, like the way I look at both of these guys, and specifically more Nemeth, because I thought that if WWE would have just capitalized on just the overall talent, and I'm talking about talent as a professional wrestler, there's many, many levels to this. Like there's in-ring ability, there's promos, there's selling, there's striking, there's everything, right? I thought that Nick Nemeth was clearly on his way to becoming the next Shawn Michaels. I really did.
So did
like,
I.
And I still believe that there's still like, look, Shawn Michaels, I don't know if you agree with this, but I feel like almost Shawn Michaels' better matches came in his second run. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but like think about the Rolodex. You got the Stone Cold match. He had a broken back, right? You had the Bret Hart at the Iron Man match, one of the best of all time. Great. But like, think about it. Like Undertaker, Shawn Michaels happened in the Second Coming. His next match with the Undertaker happened, right? And then Kurt Angle, John Cena. Like, I think that's a hard argument, but I think that Shawn Michaels' second run in ring made him Mr. WrestleMania, the showstopper, the guy he became.
Yeah, I think that.
But
No. Hey, that's what the show is. But I think Shawn Michaels, for me personally, as a fan, the character of Shawn Michaels, you'll never be able to beat like 97 Shawn Michaels, 97, 98 Shawn Michaels. Unfortunately,
Peak DX, yeah.
What I'm just saying is, unfortunately, that character, that personality, that attitude that he had was coming from a very dark place in his personal life, right? So we're understanding that character didn't continue on. But man, that you can't beat that Shawn Michaels in my mind. Having said that, yeah, I think hands down, and maybe it was clear mind, more appreciation for where he was, in his life and stuff. But yeah, man, you start him and Kurt Angle, just the matches he was having, the performances that he was churning out there, but also maybe it's the change in the style as time went on. They started, by the time he had that classic match at Mania with Undertaker that some say is the greatest, match ever. By the time he had that, the business had shifted to a much faster pace. Things were a little bit different. And I think that somehow maybe that suited Shawn Michaels better than Shawn Michaels almost having to pull back in the 90s to fit that where wrestling was in the 90s. I think by the time we got to 2008, 2010, Shawn Michaels is like, yeah, man, this is the speed I've always been going. Now this is just what we can do. So yeah, I think
that's a great way to describe Nick Nemeth as well. Like, yeah, he was a cheerleader. Yeah, he had his moments, but then he came into his own. And like I said, I was in the crowd for that cash in for his over Del Rio. And let me tell you something, dude. I don't know if I've ever heard a crowd that loud in person.
Someone had just said that.
Ever.
Someone just said it was the biggest pop they've ever heard.
Yeah, and you just think about the cast of characters that are involved in that. Big E, we talked a lot about him the last couple of weeks, right? Big E was there as his heavy, and AJ Lee was there. You know what I mean? Like, it was just a really cool moment. But like, as you see Nick Nemeth go and evolve, right? I think that this matchup with Riddle might be his biggest test. Like when you're Nick Nemeth and you go into matches where it's like, okay, it's a big guy. Let's work a big guy thing. Let's play the cat and mouse. Let's do this. Let's sell really well, right? Nick Nemeth is almost it's almost like the Spider-Man meme, just like, huh? What? Like almost like they're the same same guy, and like
Yeah.
the selling, the in-ring ability. Listen, Matt Riddle has a MMA background. Nick Nemeth is a world-class amateur wrestler. So
Yeah.
it's like these guys are this match. I don't know how it went this far without happening, but man, oh man, at the MJN Convention Center, I just looked at it.
Yep.
It's going down as the main event. I can't wait to see it. I really, if I had it, it's hard to, gun to my head, like who comes out of this victorious. I tell you what, cliche as this sounds, the fans win this one. Absolutely.
Us, we get to call it.
Oh my God. It's like, it's one of those things where I'm
and I know what you're thinking. Well, where can we hear you guys calling this? We'll see.
We're thinking the same damn thing. We'll figure it out. But listen, they're also crowning an ACW world champion. And that's going to be determined in a 20-man over-the-top battle royal, the Poughkeepsie Rumble.
Can you believe Trax is getting to win the championship?
Yeah, right. That's what's really funny, though? 20-man in a ring. Like, I don't know. Again, over the top. It doesn't say battle royal. It says Poughkeepsie Rumble.
Right, so I feel like it's going to be Rumble style.
Is it countdown-ish, right? Like, and then who drew number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? And if that's the case, that's even better. Because then I don't want to, like, and I don't know if you agree with this, but like whenever I did shows at WrestlePro, like, and when it got to the point where Sean Donovan, who is one of the locker room leaders back there, he starts underlining winners and losers, I'm like, ugh, and I just get out of there because I don't want to see anything, because I think if I call it authentically and not know, so like if there's a 20-man thing with some surprises in there, like
I don't want to know who. I don't want to know who's winning.
So I think that's going to be a great thing. You mentioned the Now and Sent to Slaughter in a tables match. You also have the NWA World Championship on the line between a legend in New York by itself, but in ECW, the innovator of violence, Tommy Dreamer, challenging Mr. Latimer. First of all, I don't know. Go ahead.
No, I was going to maybe the same thing. Has Tommy Dreamer ever challenged for the NWA championship?
I want to say no. And I think this.
Oh, Coach Rosie, awesome championship wrestling.
Yes, and it's in Poughkeepsie, New York, this Saturday night. Fan Fest starts at 5:30, bell time 7:30. Dave's hopefully in his bed by midnight. But we'll see. But no, I'm not sure about that. It's crazy when you think about certain wrestlers, and Tommy Dreamer being one of them, just what he's done for the business. And again, Tommy Dreamer will be the first one to tell you that he wasn't the most technically sound professional wrestler of all time. And now, I guess in his later days, he's having these matches, but I feel like Tommy Dreamer's found like a little bit of the fountain of youth with a lot of these performances that he's putting on. And I think he has a great opportunity to do something that I don't think anybody has on their 2025 bingo card, and saying like, hey, NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, like, yeah, what about Tommy Dreamer? And I think that's a great thing to do for Dreamer.
Also, to be in a building like that, and Tommy Dreamer said he's never wrestled in that building without a sellout. So I think he's headed towards it again. Streak's continuing, yeah. But Tommy Dreamer, the show I mentioned, Hardcore Heaven '99, Tommy Dreamer was on that card, and I got to watch him there. And now to get to call Tommy Dreamer, even just challenging for the NWA Championship, like this is, and I know I keep
bro, 26 years later.
I keep, turning this back to you and me and our experience with this. But hey, it's our show. So, but we get to call, and you as fans get to see a TNA World Championship match and an NWA World Championship match in the same.
That's not all of it.
That's not it. But you get to see that, which is also kind of in a way interesting when you think about the fact that the TNA Championship was originally the NWA Championship. So it's, man, and not just the championships on the line, but the matches that are happening for those championships. It's just, man, and Tommy Dreamer, I think he's got a chance. I think he really has a chance.
All right, listen, I would not pass it by him to walk out of there with some gold. 10 pounds of it. It's 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just making sure. But
I don't think it's really 10, but
there's a 8.5 pound belt, 8.5 pound belt, otherwise known as the NWA Junior World Championship. Alex Taylor coming in there as the champion, taking on the real one, who I'm very familiar with now, Enzo Amore, formerly known as Enzo Amore, and of course GKM. So we put on a show at Fight Factory Wrestling in September. While I regret, the crowd size, but I do not regret some of the action we got to see. And one of the matches was 1-on-1, and that was the real one versus GKM. And they did a fantastic job. You could find that match for free on the MyFandom YouTube channel under the That Said event. And now, Alex Taylor puts himself in a situation where he doesn't have to be pinned, right, to lose the junior championship. So all of a sudden you're like, okay, I know we talked about Tommy Dreamer having a fighter's chance, but the real one and GKM have even greater chances to walk out with some championship gold on Saturday night.
You're talking about a former WWE Cruiserweight champion in the real one. And you're talking about GKM, the guy who, to me, 10 years from now, you're going to be talking about him as every week.
Every week you're going to look at GKM and be like, oh my God, it's Kofi.
Oh God. No, you know what? Hey.
He hates that, by the way. I love him though.
You know what though? He is GKM though, is so talented.
Yeah.
And he's really, it's I think understated because he hangs around so many other talented people. In this stable, the Space Cadets or whatever they're called. But that group, all kidding aside, they're all so talented in their own right that it is sometimes you don't realize how good GKM is. But that match that he had with the real one at Fight Factory Wrestling was almost surprising how good it was. And that sounds disrespectful to both people in the ring, and I don't mean it that way. I thought it was going to be like a good match. I thought it would be good, and it was great. Like, it was really, really good. So now you throw another guy in the mix. Oh, by the way, he's the champion. Doesn't even have to lose the match to lose the championship. Man, this is an exciting show.
Speaking of nostalgia, we follow that up with the alternative Anthony Green, which, by the way, there was one time I got to announce Anthony Green as a ring announcer, and he told me to call him the Uncle Jesse of professional wrestling because thank you for the Full House. That's
tremendous.
Wow, is that amazing? He goes one-on-one with the timeless one himself, Crowbar. We've done business with Crowbar for years now, and this dude, we talked about Tommy Dreamer before. Crowbar is in another stratosphere when it comes to reinventing himself, keeping himself preserved, getting himself ready to go for big matches like this. And Anthony Green, speed-wise, can probably run circles around Crowbar, but it's up to Crowbar to slow the pace down and pick this dude apart. It's going to be, one of the matches I cannot wait to see.
Yeah, Crowbar, I think I first saw him live 98, maybe somewhere in there, when he was still Devin Storm at the time. And I remember two things. One, how talented he was, how much he stood out. And two, his tights that he wore were like 3D. They were like three-dimensional tights. Like, he had these like cutouts on the side that were like this thick that like came out, like protruded from the side. Google it. It was actually really cool. And I've never seen anyone have gear like that since. But worked with him for the first time in January of 2003, which for those counting, 22 years ago.
Oh my God, I graduated high school. Oh my God. I've been driving longer than I've been out of high school. It's like,
oh my God, here? That hurts so bad.
It does. It stings.
But I worked with him then, and maybe it was April. Okay, so it wasn't not exactly.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
21 and a half years.
Yeah, not quite there yet. But it was on a show, and he wrestled Perry Saturn.
Moppy.
Yeah. Oh God. Someone yelled, "Where's Moppy?" and Perry Saturn responded with things I can't say or will be kicked off of YouTube. But something about the guy's mother and a bag full of nickels or something. It was
Ooh, all
yeah.
right. Happy New Year,
So,
everybody.
but Crowbar has continued to impress and reinvent himself, and then we had the opportunity to see him at ISPW. We've had the
Mm,
opportunity to work with him at WrestlePro. Um, Pro being the key word. He is a pros pro.
yeah,
One
absolutely.
of the coolest guys you will ever meet in the wrestling business, hands down.
And
Um,
kindest,
One
bro.
of the
Kind,
kindest guys. And then, oh,
nice.
by the way, he also can go like it's 1998. And that's where the timeless comes in.
So kind, but can rip your throat out within a half
The
of a
dude
second.
is, I mean, he's so he's so good, so
Mm,
technically sound. And I know,
yeah,
technically sound, he crashes through tables. You have no idea. He's so good. Um, so to have him, I mean, this is it's an honor for anyone to stand in the ring with him. But now for him to continue to wrestle these younger guys who are just, and I don't mean that to be dismissive, but it's gonna be good. It's gonna be really good. That's gonna be my response on every single match here. Oh, it's gonna be good.
ACW does not end there. It does feature the women's division. And we know Kelly, I'm going to either butcher it or nail it. It's not Kelly, but her name, Kelly Maiden or Madan. She will be taking on Tiara James. I know Tiara
Man,
James. Yes, well,
Kelly.
listen, New Year's resolutions.
Oh boy.
But yeah, so women's action as well. Another one that's going to be great. The sponsors are just filing in. They have a lot of attention, man. They really do. And I'm so glad that it's so successful so fast, and
Yep.
I think that, they know it's a sink or swim moment. Just like I knew that for Fight Factory. I said Fight Factory bombs at the War on the Shore, right? Like if the shore gets bombed, um, we're
God
out,
almost
right?
bombed it.
Yeah, right. We're out, right? Yeah, I know. He starting to bowl right around
Yeah.
10:30. But yeah, I think that if just like us at Fight Factory, we knew if it bombed, we were like, all right, hey, listen, we gave it our old college try. I'll go back to my commentary booth and just be on my way. But it really was a massive success. We made some significant history on the Jersey Shore. These guys have a fantastic opportunity to make some significant history in Poughkeepsie, New York, where their wrestling has just not been as frequent. So bring it on back with all that history at that building alone. It's like for them to reinvent this thing and just bring it all back and to sell what?
Let me throw out one piece of history for you from that.
Sure.
Just one piece of history for everybody watching this, trying to understand why this building matters. Do you remember when all the managers, James Sorensen watching this doesn't remember, but all the managers were vying for the Macho Man's services, and the Macho Man introduced who his new manager would be, and it was the debut of the lovely Miss Elizabeth. She
Yeah.
exited those two doors, or I guess entered those two doors into the arena.
Mm-hmm.
That building, that's where it was, and I will show
This
you
all.
those doors, Dave, when we get there.
Can't
Because they're
wait.
right.
Can't wait.
But it is. I mean, just right off the bat, that's it. Just Miss Elizabeth's debut happened in that building. Forget
Right.
anything else. Like this is, man, so much history there. I will say one other thing. I've only been there one other time, other than the ECW Hardcore Heaven,
Mm.
and I was there for or Impact Wrestling Rebellion. I was there on behalf of Fight, and the first thing I noticed when I walked in, because I hadn't been there since '99, was, man, this place looks different. It took me a little while to figure out why. It was because when I was there for ECW, they had pulled out all of the risers to fill.
Oh.
Not Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling did not have the risers. Impact Wrestling did not have the crowd that ACW is going to have. The Poughkeepsie Rumble. Maybe
It's great.
I don't know that they had even half of what they're going to have. And listen, obviously TNA now doing pretty well. They're doing great. If TNA went there, it's not the story it was with Impact a number of years ago. But I'm just, the risers they're almost sold out or sold out for all I know at this point.
Yeah.
So it's, man,
They
so
They
excited.
keeps growing. like I said, shout out to those guys. We can't wait to be a part of it, just a small part of it. Because again, there's nothing better than professional wrestling in New York in historic buildings. So we can't wait. It's going to be awesome. Just speaking on before we get to our topic of what we want to talk about to round this out for the first of the year. Netflix this week, the debut, loaded show. We'll get into some of the details that we want to really dive into because what we're going to be talking about today is top hour, Josh's and mine, individual top 5 moments in wrestling in 2024. Unfortunately for me, I put all 5 in WWE. There was a couple moments in AEW where I was like, this is awesome, but it just didn't make my top 5. But for you say TNA before, is there any shot that Raw on Netflix can say his name and he appears on the Netflix debut?
I mean,
Joe Hendry, friend of the show. Like,
would
that place go bonkers?
Here's what I'm gonna say. I would love it, but I wouldn't do it because
yeah, why not? Yeah, ruin everybody.
1 month from today, February 1st, the Royal Rumble. Is there a better place?
That's very true.
Like, to me, if he comes out on Netflix, on Raw on Netflix, that Rumble pop is not as big. But if he is a surprise, and it's the countdown and then say his name, holy crap.
Yeah,
that, I mean,
yeah, the roof would blow off.
So do I want it at the Raw on Netflix? 100%. I do. I would love it. I think it would be awesome, and the crowd would go banana, as they say. But to me, make it a Rumble moment.
Save it. All right. Well, listen, I'm all for it. So,
little Jimmy Sorensen though says, it was up here a minute ago. There we go. I don't know if you're aware, but to watch anything Raw, you have to go to Netflix, no more on Peacock. So so let's clear that up right now.
Wow.
If you go into the Raw section on Peacock, you will see things like the Monday Night Wars and other little like documentaries or specials or something.
So they moved the entire library?
If you go onto Netflix, there's now a thing called the Raw Vault. And as of last night, or this morning at like 1 a.m. when I decided to look for no good reason at all, it's empty. So, and a lot of things were like coming Wednesday. So clearly it was still West Coast. It was not, we're getting there.
It's still uploading.
Yeah, so I'm sure if you check it today, and having worked in streaming, I can tell you there are people there going like, okay, let's set this up. Okay, let's get the thumbnails up. Let's do all this. So it's a lot of, it is a lot of work to move that library over. Especially when it was as unorganized as Peacock.
I never, and this is not a knock on Peacock. I just never got the flow of Peacock down. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just seemed like it's all here, guys. Just, good luck finding it.
You know what? Because it came off of the WWE Network, which was so perfect. That second incarnation of the WWE Network, they had like figured it all out, right? They're like, this is how it goes. And then they're like, here's Peacock. Oh, you want to check out the Royal Rumble season 4, like episode 1? No. I want to check out the Royal Rumble 92. Like, what are you doing? Right?
James Sorensen, he goes, there's stuff on there now. I looked at 4. Bro, wow. Do you sleep? I was up till 2:30 last night for no reason whatsoever. The ball dropped and I'm like, I'll just watch some Netflix. And I watched some comedy about it. Next thing I know, it's 2:30 in the morning. I said, I should probably go to sleep. Hence, I have a show in the morning. Right. So I should probably go to bed. But anyway, listen.
Couple of questions real quick. I just want to, because we've had some nice questions come in from our live studio audience here, courtesy of ad-free shows. Coach Rosie asked the guys, you coming to Huntsville for Top Guy Tussle? In the famous words of Dennis Stamp, I wasn't booked, Terry.
It's because I'm not booked.
I'm not booked. I'm not going to be there. I'm not booked. No, I would like to think maybe next time. We're definitely eyeing up Starcast. So, but of course that has a lot of. So, Top Guy Tussle, I don't know that there's really much of a need for guys like myself and Dave. And when it comes to something like Starcast, it's kind of a wait and see. It's been very kind of Conrad and Company to want us to be a part of things, but there, as you know, this is combined with AEW, so we got to kind of wait and see. Is this going to be? We got a stage show. We got a stage show. Hey, even if Conrad and Company were kind enough, if they were, to say, oh man, we'd love Josh to host a stage show, they might come in and go, oh, we've got Will Washington. So, it's that remains to be seen. But no, for Top Guy Tussle, we're not going to be able to be there. I wish we were. I wish we were there for Top Guy Rumble. Although we will be, breaking news, we will be doing our own Rumble pre-show, which I think is going to be earlier in the day.
Yeah.
Because a lot of you guys are going to be partying at the Top Guy Rumble. We want you to have that opportunity when you're chilling in your hotel room, wondering what to do with yourselves before that party starts. Come on over.
I think that's a good idea. I think it's better for you because I know you wanted to make sure. I know you get together with friends to watch the Rumble. I know that your Lord and Savior Danny Moff and Sean Donovan may come to the Chop Studios and watch the Royal Rumble, so I'll be hanging out with those guys potentially. We'll see. But listen, we talk about 2024 as being one of the better years in professional wrestling, specifically WWE, because they just crushed it on every level. So we have collectively come up with our own list of top 5 moments in WWE in wrestling in 2024. And I want to start it off, if I may, Josh.
Please.
With the fact that it's a recency bias thing. It happened last week.
Okay.
A top 5 moment for me is the promo that was cut between CM Punk and Seth Rollins on Monday Night Raw. Did you watch that in real time?
Not in real time, but I watched
Me
it.
neither. I was watching Monday Night Football.
On DVR. But,
Dude. Like, they turned back the clocks when it came to, hey, this is what we're going to do without mentioning any other company's name because they're professionals. They know what they're doing. I can only imagine Tony Khan hear Seth Rollins call competition, and he's like, ooh, I knew it. I knew we were competition. But listen, that promo.
I thought that was interesting. That's one of the things that stood out to me the most, honestly, was that he called it competition.
That promo ended the year, and it sets up, obviously, a unbelievable matchup that we've all been waiting to see, CM Punk and Seth Rollins on the first Raw of 2025 on Netflix. But that promo was so, no pun, raw. And it felt, the emotions, it felt like they were like, hey, listen, guys, go air your shit. It's our last time on USA. Go nuts. Just go crazy. And they did without, like, I would say personal jabs, but there were a lot of personal jabs.
I have to imagine those were all cleared, though, because this isn't AEW.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, you could, and just by me, I'm a face reader, right? CM Punk, there was plenty of times for him to, like, not break character, but kind of smirk or smile or whatever. But it just felt like he was getting actually pissed off. And then on top of that, CM Punk saying, like, hey, I haven't seen the man around these parts much, and he's like, oh, yeah, well, she's raising a kid, something you would know nothing about. And I'm like, where are we going?
Yeah, that kind of, that was a unique.
I don't know if that was even needed, but I was like, God damn, right?
It's personal. I mean, and that's the thing. They showed how personal this is, right?
Called him a cancer right to his face. Like,
which to me, I was just like, man, they really want that soundbite without having to show Nick Hausman's face on, because that's when that happened years ago.
They got it. I know, but they got it. Thank
God. Yeah. Well, okay. So that's one of yours.
James Sorensen says it seemed like there was no parameters for that promo. So yeah, I'm putting it in my top 5 moments of 2024 CM Punk, Seth Rollins promo. And this is coming from a guy who isn't the biggest Seth Rollins or CM Punk fan, right? Like, I'm just not, like, I get it. They're incredible performers. For me, overall, I get the shtick. I never really got into it. But after that promo, I'm like, I have to see this match. Like, I have to. And that's exactly what their job
Yep.
is to sell the fight. And now I'm watching on Netflix on January 6th.
And
Josh,
Netflix is bigger to me now. This January 6th show is bigger to me than Saturday Saturday night's main event.
oh, 100%.
As far as I mean, this feels like a PLE.
This is honestly the second best thing to ever happen to January 6th.
Wow. Hey man, do you still have your horns?
Woo. Now I got my howitzer. I'm a gun owner.
This guy.
We're good, bro.
This guy.
Yep. Hey, listen, views like that will kick you out of WrestlePro.
It
Anyway.
will. And then working with people with views like that will kick you out of WrestlePro.
I did it my way. Anyway,
so
go ahead.
Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna give you a top 5 moment for me. I'm looking at my list to see if I should go in any particular order, but I'm gonna go with. Okay, how about I start with this one? Paul Heyman at Madison Square Garden saying,
God,
"You are not my tribal chief."
I was there. I was in the crowd for that. Like, how did I
That
miss
to
that?
me was that was a gives you chills. That was the it gives you chills. That moment was special. It's something I think you'll see for years. It was the moment. It was one of the moments that got my kids hooked on wrestling. To be honest, I was down the shore, which if you're listening to this and you're anywhere other than in the tri-state area of Pennsylvania and New Jersey, down the shore means I was at the Jersey Shore. But and I was just watching like clips and stuff, of like what I had missed and all. And my kids were like, "Oh my God, like what just happened there?" So to me, like that is a moment from 2024. That was a big one. Paul Heyman saying, "You are not my tribe," and the crowd like going nuts for that, just nuts. And then what happened afterwards, but even just that moment in itself, that's mine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Now, look, I have 4 really, really good moments here, and I'll take one of them to kind of, put number 4 for me as I count up. For me at least, I'm gonna go with something that was so hyped and delivered in every way possible for a debut, and then now you're looking back and you're like, damn it, what are they right? And it's the debut of the Wyatt Six. Like that first debut where it looked like they went on a complete murder spree, right? Like that television, when that Raw went off the air, I remember thinking to myself, I don't know if I've ever been more jaw dropped ever. And I'm talking Attitude Era too. Like to the point where I was just like, what did I just watch? And
Attitude Era, your jaw dropped, but sometimes disgusted with the way you were saying.
Oh God, how can I do that?
This is on my list too, by the way.
This one was on my debut, list. And like I said, what they do with it now, it just seems like they're spinning their wheels a little bit. And I know there's little things where it's like they still have little things, but now you're including like the Miz and Karrion Kross and all these guys, and I understand all that. But the debut itself goes into my top 5 moments of 2024, and as it does.
So including the Miz in the story seemed out of place until they showed Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel and the Miz, and they showed that clip, and then I was like, that makes this really cool, like really interesting. So that made it really interesting. And I look at it and still go like, okay, how are we like? I want to let's let it play out. But that moment there when each one of them came out, that was the other one that kind of hooked my kids. Honestly, like that's why it was on my list. But man, to finally see that, and then to see that the chair and the lantern, and just And it's funny, the two things that I've listed so far, and the other one that you listed as well, all of these moments, and maybe this is why, without just being critical of AEW, maybe this is why we didn't see any monumental moments there, because all the moments we've listed thus far have so much history behind them. The Wyatt Six would be a super cool debut, but if there was no connection to Bray Wyatt, and had Bray Wyatt never been a thing, and this was just some new characters, you'd be like, all right, neat. I mean, it was shot well, but it it wouldn't pull at your heart the same way. Paul Heyman, You're Not My Tribal Chief. Hell, man, what, 4 years of story behind that? Not to mention decades of Paul Heyman's association with Atha and Sika, and there's so much behind that. And then, of course, Seth and CM Punk is playing off of, going back a decade of their, of all the. So,
and again, in AEW's defense, they don't have.
That's what I'm saying.
Lineage, and I get that. But they could start talking about things that happened on their debut show. At this point, it's 5 years now.
And I will say also, in their defense, if they ever try and play up on history, if they play up on something with Edge and Christian, right? Adam Copeland and Christian, you're going to have so many people who go, oh, well, of course, they're just using WWE guys to get over or whatever. So they're in a lose-lose, right? They're. Yeah.
Well, like I said, I was going to put it in my top 5, but I kept it WWE for, relevancy purposes. But one of the more nostalgic moments is when Edge is doing his call out, Adam Copeland's doing his call outs, and Matt Cardona shows up. And if you're sitting there, you're like, if you're a brand new AEW fan, you're like, oh, cool, it's the indie god against, Adam Copeland. But if you're a nostalgic guy and you've been watching wrestling forever, you know that the reason why there's even a Matt Cardona is because of Edge.
I mean, right? I personally am carrying a level of shame right now for not putting that on my list.
I watched yesterday. I watched the actual pop yesterday when his name popped up, because I guess not everybody knows his name, knows his theme music. But as soon as his name flashed on the Tron, people were like, holy shit. But the problem is, and this is, again, I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole of bashing AEW, but man, they had the opportunity to talk about that. They did. And they didn't, right? They're like, oh, it's the major wrestling figure podcast guy. It's the indie god. It's all like,
he and Edge have a history.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, him, Adam Copeland a little bit. He could have said he's the reason why he's the indie god. He's the reason why he's able to reinvent himself and do the magical things that he's been doing on the independents. But they didn't. They decided not to. They decided to punt on that. Why? Because you don't want to mention the other brand? It's so stupid.
Yeah, I think also it's just I was listening to Something to Wrestle with John Layfield, and which I've loved, by the way. And I love Bruce, but man, JBL has just been killing it over on Something to Wrestle, and I had free shows. But he was talking about Vince McMahon in his ear. That was the episode that they did of when he.
I did see. I saw the thumbnail. I didn't get to watch.
Such a good episode. Really, you of all people, honestly, should really listen to it, because as a announcer, and it really allows you to have the appreciation for guys like a Michael Cole that a lot of people don't understand why Michael Cole is so damn good at what he does. But to me, there is so much. I hear people talk about, the greatest commentators of all time and this, that, and the other. And this is going to sound really egotistical, but whenever you can watch ACW, man, tune into what Dave and I do, because there have been a lot of complaints. What's that?
He said there's nobody in our ear.
No one in our ear. Sometimes I wish there was someone in our ear, because I think, I think to myself, man, how much better could we be, right? If we had a Michael Cole in our ear.
Fair.
How much better could you get? I mean, it would infinitely better. And that's starting out as polished as I think we are. I don't think anyone can touch us on commentary. And again, sounds cocky and give a shit. Show me someone who's better. And
That's
I'll
all I
go,
hear.
oh, you're right. Okay. But I haven't seen it yet. So, but the reason I bring that up is when you have a guy like Matt Cardona coming out there, there's two facets to it. One, were they instructed not to? Right?
Right.
We recently found out that when Christian, who was it? Was it? I don't know. Was it Tom? No, it wasn't Tom Phillips. It was whoever it was who was doing the commentary for ECW at the time when Christian made his return to WWE, and he goes, "It's Christian," and I remember watching that and going, "This commentator absolutely sucks. Like, how do you ruin that? What is wrong with you? This is Christian's return." Well, we found out in an interview this past year that he was specifically instructed by Vince McMahon that you should do not be energetic. Right before he went, do not be energetic. Do not, just go. It's Christian, like it's no big deal. Why? I have no idea. Maybe to bury Christian for leaving.
Matt Striker.
It wasn't Matt Striker who said it. It wasn't Matt Striker who said it. But sorry, Sorensen.
Just saying, you're gonna piss one guy off. Good morning.
But
Happy New Year, Meg.
Happy New Year. But my point is, with all of that, is to say we don't know what those commentators were told, and Dave and I don't have anyone in our ear, so we are given the freedom when we do stuff where we do it to just say what we want to say and do what we think is going to be best for the product.
Right.
So sometimes you have someone in your ear going, "Don't mention this, just mention this," and then you got a job to do.
I mean, no, in all reality, when GPW does their thing with us, like we'll hear them saying like, "Hey, we're going to replay. Hey, we're going."
Oh, that's that's not what I mean.
Produced, though. We're not being produced.
I'm talking about produced. Yeah, being produced. Yeah. That's being directed. We have directors in our ear sometimes, and having O'Neill's sweet voice in my ear is.
I love it.
Absolutely love it. But
whispering me to sleep. All right, go into your third moment since we shared one. You can go next.
Oh, thank you.
I'm being gracious on New Year's Day. Go
ahead. Cody winning the title at WrestleMania. It seems like it seems like an easy one, but having been there,
sure.
That final sequence so I'm talking the last 5 minutes of the match.
Well,
the 10 minutes after the match.
I literally put, you could double down on that, but I literally put on my third one. Well, it was actually going to be my second one, WrestleMania 40 Cluster F. That's okay. That's what I
so
had.
I would say it's the same. So I would say you and I are saying the same thing. We have the same thing on our list because I'm not talking the 1, 2, 3 and the bell rings. I'm talking. Right. Talking that cluster all the way to Cody, and all the way through Cody handing the title to his mom, him calling out Bruce Pritchard and Triple H to the ring afterwards. That entire moment, you felt, and I'll be honest, I don't know what it felt like at home watching. I think it was pretty similar, but in that building, Dave. I'll speak for you and tell me if I'm telling tales out of school, but in that moment, I felt like we were there witnessing history. We were a part of something different and special. It felt like you're in there going like, this isn't a fun WrestleMania match. This isn't like a cool moment. This is history. We are a part of something that 20 years from now, people will be remembering this as one of the greatest moments.
If I'm not mistaken, this is the first WrestleMania with like Triple H had full control. Like this was the one
that whole weekend, man. That whole weekend with the Paul Levesque era and stuff like that.
Yeah, bro. Like I said, I also have that on my list because I just think that it was so well done. You know, there are people out there like, well, if it was Stone Cold, yeah, of course it would be.
I'm one of those people. Bigger. I know. It would have been bigger. Had it been Stone Cold, it would have been bigger. Undertaker, super cool. Had it been Stone Cold,
I just think the look of The Rock, like just kind of, and just sees the Undertaker. He's like, that's this fucking thing, and I'm just like, dude, this is.
See, but to me, the look on The Rock's face, if the glass broke, would have taken me right back to the look on The Rock's face when his beeper said 316.
Yep, the beeper.
And so to me, and from what I've gathered, this wasn't a missed opportunity. This was shit didn't work out, and business is business,
brother.
But
all right,
that would have been the only thing to make it better.
A low key moment in 2024 happened on a Monday Night Raw. For me, is one of these things where I'm just like, oh shit, like when it happened, I was like, whoa. The tsunami from Bronson Reed through the car on Braun Strowman. I know it's an underrated, under the radar moment, but god damn, they really just let these two hosses do whatever the hell they want. And they ended that segment with one of the biggest bangs you've ever heard in wrestling, because two men, maybe 700 pounds of mass, went through a car, like not a hood, the car. The windows imploded, right? Yeah. It was just one of those moments where I'm like, well done, well done. And I think, again, that falls on my top 5 moment. I know it's a crazy little under the radar one, but that's a moment where I'm just like, god damn, that was great.
Yeah, definitely not on my list, but something that I think you will see again, like 10 years from now. I could see that on like a Raw, like a montage. It may have actually been on their like Thank You USA Network montage.
Oh, I didn't see that.
But yeah, but that's like a moment, right? Like it's a Raw moment. It didn't.
Yeah, it was 8 seconds long, but whatever. Like for me, I was like, okay, well, we're on to something.
And as a fan, and this is something I wish all wrestling fans could understand and get through their head. And by all wrestling fans, I mean all fans of anything, because this is not just wrestling. That's not on my list. That's on your list. So I thought it was cool, but I'm saying, like, let's say I didn't think it was cool. Well, let's say I didn't think it was cool and you thought it was cool enough to put on your top 5 list. Sure. Well, then it was cool enough to put on your top 5 list. Then it was an awesome moment for you.
So you're saying that you don't have to like berate me and make me feel like I'm an illegitimate child or something like that? Like,
right. That's, I mean, it's a novel idea, but
breaking news.
But like we can, people can like different things. But let's all strive to.
My mind's blown. But anyway, what is another moment?
Accepting.
What is another moment on you?
So, yeah, man, I'm still hung up on the Austin thing right now. Austin and Rock. Because, I mean, what was the main event of the only other time WrestleMania was in Philly? Austin and Rock. I mean, it was just wrong. It was wrong. Let me put it this way. One of the top 5 moments of the year, one of the top 5 moments of the decade, one of the top 5 moments one of the top moments in wrestling history, right? They fucked up. Back up that truck and send the private jet, whatever you have to do to get Steve Austin there.
Could have. You're right. You could have.
And whoever was responsible for it, for that not happening, you fucked up.
It's like Triple H is batting 1,000. You're just like, damn, Hunter, come on, man.
It's
like,
just whoever was behind. I don't know. You always have the rooms. Oh well, The Rock didn't want him there because they were always very competitive. I don't buy that bullshit. But no, but because The Rock is worried sick that his pop's gonna be like, come on.
He's one of the guys that run the damn place now. Like, are we kidding?
But they not getting that in there. They fucked up. And Sorensen says, Taker was fine in that spot. Relax, Josh. Listen, you 26-year-old, you don't know. And with all due respect, because for you, Taker was a much bigger part of your wrestling fandom than Stone Cold. Well, we got a run-in, folks.
We have a run-in. This is Miles, everybody. This is my son. He crept his way up to the man cave, and here he is. So
hello, is sir. How are you? I mean, you can't hear me, but
one finger. Can you put up the one? Yeah, there he is. The tribal. He acknowledges the tribal chief.
Fantastic.
Right. Go back downstairs, okay? Love you, buddy. Thanks for coming up. Wow, pal.
Wow. That's fantastic. My kids, if my kids find out that one of your kids made it on camera, you're gonna just start seeing little heads popping in, like all the. They're dying to be on camera, and I'm like, nope. Except for that commercial on Shernoff.
Coach Reggie, what's up, Miles? Yeah, that's my boy. So I'm gonna follow it up because you just mentioned The Rock, right? And Rock Stone Cold thing. I think one of the better closings, and we talked about the Wyatt 6 promo where it's just like, okay, that's great. Oh, The Rock just beating the brakes off of Cody Rhodes, man. Just like that.
Taking it outside and everything. That's on my list.
No, we're not stopping the camera. F that. Follow the great one.
That was next on my list. Tremendous.
The brakes off of Cody. And like I said, it doesn't get any better than that. I just feel like that alone, I was like, dude, this is incredible. Like, it's just absolutely incredible.
Yep. And how many do you have left? One?
That was it, I think.
Oh, that was it for you? Okay, so I have one left. Because Rock and Cody, that was one of mine as well. My last one, and these were not in any particular order. So this is not like my number one of the top 5. The Drew McIntyre winning the championship at WrestleMania all the way through the cash-in from Damian Priest.
And that just goes to show you that 2 of our top 5 moments happened at WrestleMania 40. So like that just goes to show you how good WrestleMania 40 was.
It felt so that was so real in that moment with Drew getting that moment in front of his family.
Yeah.
Seth crying, going, "You fucking deserve it." And he's crying because he's in so much goddamn pain. But saying that to Drew as he's walking away, I mean, that was real. And Drew getting that moment and just the way they allowed him to milk it and take the time with it and him going and showing it to his wife and everything. For someone who's known Drew for so many years and that for me was special. Then I got to pop Dave and show off by texting with Drew afterwards at WrestleMania. That was so cool. And then when you're just like, man, we're having such a feel-good moment, right? It's so feel-good. And then the way that only WWE can, the camera angle and the slight turn of the head from Drew to see CM Punk behind him, where you just go, Drew, come on, man.
Game on.
It's not necessary. It's not necessary. Don't do this. This is your moment. And just showing it off to Punk. And then Punk tripping him and all of that where you're just like, oh my God, Punk now ruined this for Drew and all that. And then even just Punk's reaction when the music hit for Damian Priest, where Punk is just like, you see it occur to Punk. What's happening? He hears the music and for a second it's like and then it's just like, like almost like, oh man.
It's like we love when a plan comes together.
But like almost like this wasn't even a plan. Like almost like Punk sold it so well of just like, oh, this is just great. Like, oh, I did this because Drew's a dick, but oh, this is tremendous. Like that to me was such a unbelievable moment. Really,
just a lot of WWE was absolutely on fire, and now you get 2025, a brand new WWE, brand new WWE. Sorry, I got my.
You all right over there?
Nah, my goddamn cat is messing around with wires. I'm afraid I'm gonna go off the air in about 2 seconds.
He doesn't
somebody
own
must
a
open
cat.
the door to the
He does
studio.
not own a cat.
It's dead.
Okay.
It's dead.
Miles, you look different.
What a pussy. Listen,
whoa.
What I'm hello.
Whoa.
I was talking about my cat. I was talking about my cat. But anyway.
Hey, before we do get out of here though.
Sure.
There were a couple of things that I started here, a couple of questions that were asked from our audience watching along with us. So first off, James Sorensen, #Ask the Greatness. Do you think Jacob will love Solo through 2025? Or do you predict Jacob will split off onto his own later this year? That's a great question. I predict he's going to... I don't see 2025 ending with Jacob Fatu loving Solo.
No?
No.
Mm-mm.
I think on the tail end of the year, I think we're going to see a split between them.
I mean, look, it's crazy that we didn't mention Jacob Fatu's debut as one of the top 5 moments, because
it was amazing, but
he's just been so on fire. He's one of the better athletes that we've seen for a man his size to do what he does. But yeah, man, I would say that we knew it going in that this dude is a star and will be a star. And like, he won't need the whole, the prank thing. Like, I can almost see, like, how you had the Paul Heyman, like, I am not your tribal chief moment. Well, there could be like, he could be doing something where he goes, I hate you, Solo Sikoa. And I'm like, oh, what? And then the internet will be ablaze. And then you have, the reaction video people just like, what? You know, God, Solo, right?
Oh man, what if those people don't ever record themselves again in 2025?
They're gonna be ruined. They're gonna be ruined.
So yeah, I think that's interesting. Coach Rosie comes on in here with a question. Hashtag Ask Josh. Will Josh be making a return to the ring in 2025? I guess.
Hired a speed coach.
What's that?
I said I already hired a speed and agility coach starting this week. On, baby.
You know what?
Let's go.
There are days where I'm in the gym and I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I could do this one more time. And then there are days where I'm, laying in the MRI machine. And
how'd you do it? This is a stupid 2.5 pound dumbbell. Just got the best.
Just it, and look, full disclosure, I go to physical therapy every week.
For a tune-up.
And yeah, for a tune-up. That's it. I mean, I originally started, when I, so I've got a lot going on in the spinal. Yeah. But between several herniated discs and bulging discs and a fractured vertebrae and things like that, I am still feeling every bump that I took in my career.
Sure.
Having said that, I am not in the shape that I need to be to get into the ring again. I'll say that right now. I am not in the shape. So here's what one other thing I'll say. My face is when I lose weight, when I get fit, you see it in my face pretty substantially.
So basically,
just look at the art. Just look at the artwork for the thumbnail for this versus what you're seeing right now.
What you're saying is, the day that you come on to the wrestling hour and we can notice your cheekbones a little better, Josh is getting ready to get.
As long as you see this fat fuck sitting in the chair right now, there ain't no return to the ring happening. Or am I just cultivating mass?
Oh.
Am I just, you know what I'm saying? Like, am I just building up those muscles, building up those trapeze? Is there a reason why I wear a hoodie to kind of cover over?
Man,
so I don't know. Here's what I'll say. Never say never. I did not expect to be taking a bump last year or the year before, and I took a couple of bumps and lived to tell the tale. So
one more question from James Sorensen. Does Matt Cardona return to the WWE, and does Jacob kick Matt in the face to avenge from the showcase of 2023? One, I think that Matt Cardona is doing what best for Matt Cardona. He's doing it on his terms, his schedule. AEW has tried to, tease the fact that they basically have Matt Cardona at their disposal. I don't think that's the case. I think, it's going to be one of those years where Matt can decide, would a Rumble return be astronomically crazy? Oh yeah, it would. But again, timing is everything. We're watching Chelsea on fire right now as the United States champion, the first ever the women's United States champion. And I think Matt Cardona could do whatever he wants at this point and be very, very, very satisfied and fulfilled. Self-serving to some.
Yeah, I'm gonna give a prediction. No for 2025. Yes for 2026. That's my prediction.
A long year, man. That's a long time to So you're telling me that look, I don't discredit him, or nor do I think that it's even remotely not possible for him to stay as hot as he is for another year. But like, you got to strike like relatively soon. Waiting another year.
I
I
mean,
don't
listen,
know.
it probably should have been a couple of years ago. A couple of years ago would have been, but I feel like he then cooled off, but I feel like now he's heating back up. So I feel like
I have one final question for you, Josh.
yeah.
As an advocate for a Matt Cardona is your best friend in the entire universe, right?
Mhm.
It's well established. Everybody knows it. Now, he's got GCW at Hammerstein coming up in January. If WWE called him today, January 1st, said, we want you for the Rumble February 1st, but you can't do GCW in Hammerstein, would he pull off GCW for WWE? And would that be the ultimate telltale sign that something's about to go down?
I don't think he would.
I don't think so either.
I don't think he would.
As crazy as that sounds, I don't think he would pull off the show.
But I also don't think they would ask him to.
Oh, so basically, hey, round it out, you're good.
Also, why would they? Think of it from WWE's standpoint, because they don't really do much with ego anymore. They do it more of like what's legitimately best. And would you rather have Matt Cardona skip a show and then 2 weeks later show up, or would you rather have Matt Cardona
do the show,
be a big part of this Hammerstein show that everyone's talking about, and then show up? So,
I like that.
Could it happen? Here's my feeling. If it doesn't happen at the Rumble, I don't think it happens in 2025. How about that?
Fair.
Speaking of 2025, our last question here from Coach Rosie. Hashtag Ask the Guys. Do you think Jeff Jarrett announces retirement tonight on Dynamite? So I'm going to be honest.
Has that been rumored?
I'm a little out of touch with that. Yeah, so if anyone wants to let us know in the comments here, is that something that's being rumored?
That would be one of those things. I listen, I know John Cena is going to be on his retirement tour in 2025. He's going to do a lot of cool shit. But Jeff Jarrett announcing his retirement in 2025 would hit me harder, I don't know, on a personal standpoint, than John Cena, because John Cena has done it all. He's been to the mountaintop, all that shit. But like Jeff Jarrett and his family legacy in the industry itself, for him to say like, yeah, I'm done. I'm going to just, fade into the black and just, kind of do the backstage stuff and help out the younger generation. Like, that's all great. But like, to not see Jeff Jarrett have a big match anymore going forward, I don't know. That would hurt.
Yeah, to me, I want to see Jeff Jarrett as AEW World Champion. I mean, call me crazy. I want to see that happen.
I would love that.
I want to see that happen because Jeff Jarrett is, and I think Ric Flair's last match proved this. There's no better heel in this business when Jeff Jarrett turns it on. But I think that, and I think he could elevate, because I think some people are going to look and go, oh, God, yeah, that's what we need. Jeff Jarrett as AEW champion. Great. That'll put a lot of butts in seats. Here's the thing, man. Not only will people tune in for it, but when Jeff Jarrett then drops that title and puts someone over, he can make someone. Jeff Jarrett knows how to make someone, and he could make whoever that next champion is. So,
agree.
I would love to see that. I don't know if he's going to announce his retirement. I don't know.
He's going to wrestle his last match against Ric Flair. That's what I think.
Oh, God. No.
Listen, this has been the Wrestling Hour and 15 Minutes at this point.
Last question. We're going to throw it out here. James Sorensen.
Like nobody's business.
Just go in your pants.
Right,
last question. Does Lex Luger finally go into WWE Hall of Fame in 2025? Here's my prediction. It depends on how things are going with DDP.
Well, I don't know about you, but I just listened to that podcast on my way to visit some family over the weekend, and there's nobody better out there in this world than DDP right now. Yeah,
with Van Vliet, that one.
Yeah. I'm catching up. Like, I'm just kind of, I was going through the longer ones, but yeah, I listened to that and what he's doing with Lex and what Lex has been through. If he's able to even, stay, I don't want to say upright. That's not the right term I'm looking for. I'm saying if he stays the course, I think he should go in this year.
I think he's going to go in soon, But I feel like if DDP goes, it's not going to happen this April, but man, you give us one more year and he will be able to walk out on that stage and stand there for the thing. I could see them waiting. I could see them waiting to give, that.
I agree.
But should he be in the Hall of Fame? Absolutely. It's not even a question. But yeah. So all right.
You know what's funny with Lex Luger? He was given an unfair shake. Meaning like, hey, we lost Hogan. We need you to be the new dude. And he's like, I'm what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he was given that role, and I was like,
the Narcissist had so much potential to just keep going. The Narcissist, I thought there were legs to that.
Yeah, there was. All right. Anyway, long show. Everybody out there, have yourselves a very, very successful 2025. If you like the show, take a screenshot of the show, tweet it out on all your socials, on Twitter. You could do that. Fine. Okay, fine. There's your screenshot. But I'm just dealing with
what are you doing? What is happening in
like
your
a bug flew out of nowhere? I don't know what the hell that was.
You got kids and cats and bugs. My!
It's not a good thing. But I just want to wish everybody a very happy new year, a very successful, prosperous new year. I hope everybody succeeds. Like I said, if you like the show, tell people you like the show on Twitter. You see our hashtags and you see our handles underneath our TV screens here. Let everybody know. I'm going to need James Sorensen to do me a solid, get me a screenshot of me and my son. Send that over to me. I want to see that. But I could have just asked Josh too, but he's going to be doing
it. Or do it yourself. You have the link. Just
all right,
go watch it.
All right, asshole. I got it. But anyway, one of my resolutions is to be nicer to Josh in 2025. But seriously, it's been an awesome 2024. The wheels are just starting to move on a lot of things. It starts this weekend at ACW. I cannot wait. Josh and I are going to be very, very excited to be there. We're going to give it everything we got. And that's it. So on behalf of myself and Josh, you could take it home. But thank you guys, all of you guys, for watching. And, have a great 2025. Josh, take it home.
Yeah, likewise. Great 2025. Let's everybody, at the end of this year, I want us all to look back and say this was the best year we ever had. If you have something you've been holding on to going, man, should I try it? Let me tell you something. You can't fail if you try. Might not work out the way you want it to, but the only way you can fail is to not try at all. So do something that you want to do, that you've always wanted to do. Get yourself out there. Have some fun. When you look and go, man, Raw's coming to town. Man, it's a lot of money. These tickets are a little expensive. Dude, just go. Just go. You're going to spend that same money. You're going to turn around 2 months later and realize you spent that same amount of money stopping off for like a cup of coffee every couple days. Right. So, just... man, enjoy yourselves. Be safe. Be healthy. Be happy. Have a happy new year, everybody. And we will see
you. Solo Sicko. See you guys next week.
Bye now.